Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with Game of Thrones. Last time on Game of Thrones, we had... And now his watch is ended. There we go. Which is in reference to the fact that the Men of the Night's Watch are in complete chaos. Yay! Yeah, so... the Men of the Night's Watch just kind of got tired of Craster's crap and killed him, killed the Lord Commander, which sucks, and they are in complete disarray. Sam was able to escape with Gilly, but we'll see how far that goes. Meanwhile, we had some stuff with the Tyrells and Marjorie kind of gaining more control over Joffrey with every passing minute. I feel like we had a little bit of Tyrion, but I can't exactly remember. Maybe. Well, we did have Tyrion and Varys' whole story of how his things got cut off, and he is about to get vengeance on the guy that did it. And, yeah, and then what else was there? Arya is with the Men Without Banners still, and they apparently bow down to the Lord of Light, which is interesting. And yeah, what else was there? And then pretty much at the end we had the amazingness that was Daenerys's plan in action on taking the Unsullied, keeping all of her dragons, and killing everyone in Astapor. So yeah, that was best part of the entire show right now for me. So yeah, with that being said, this is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode and previous episodes of Game of Thrones that I've reacted to. And in terms of talking about the books, I'd rather be very vague because someday I am going to read these books. Someday, not anytime soon, but someday I definitely will. Within the next 5 years, let's say that. So yeah. So if you could just be vague about talking about the book, so there's not like huge spoilers or anything. And yeah, with that all being said, let's get right into episode 5 of season 3. Here we go. Whoa! Even he's like, oh jeez. That doesn't exactly give you an advantage, I don't think. Oh yeah, she's rooting against the Hound, isn't she? So much for that guy.
But not today.
Oh, he's back up. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Crazy to open an episode on a fight like that.
No, it seems you owe me a debt.
Give it back!
Oh, I stole it. It's mine. You want it? Come steal it back.
Oh my gosh.
Egret!
Does this count as foreplay?
Egret!
It's time you proved yourself.
Yep.
You swore some vows.
That was
Only
foreplay.
to break them. Are you still dressed? You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well, he knows some things.
A royal wedding is much safer, wouldn't you say?
I would.
And traditionally paid for by the royal family.
Which is the Lannisters.
Impertinent and thoroughly.
I can be your family.
You wouldn't be my family. You'd be my lady.
Aww. So she's on her own now. Meanwhile... Oh...
Bring them in.
Rob's gonna be pissed.
It's treason to free your enemies.
In war, You kill your enemies. Did your father not teach you that, boy?
Leave him.
This guy sucks. It's like, I get it, but he's also being completely irrational.
He was.
Mercy, sire, I didn't kill anyone. I only watched for the guards.
This one was only the Watcher. Hang him last so he can watch the others die.
Please, Lord, they made me do it.
That's what he thinks of all you guys.
How many times have you brought me back?
It's the Lord of Light brings you back. I'm just the lucky drunk who says the words.
How many times?
5, I think.
5.
No, this makes 6.
Jeez, man.
Was it a hanging or a dagger in the eye?
Both.
Ooh.
Fuckers couldn't decide.
Is that Melisandre? Yeah, that's Stannis.
I have prayed day and night for you to come to me.
Wait,
Lady,
that's not Melisandre, but that is Stannis.
I've sinned.
No.
I have wronged you.
Oh, that's his wife.
I have shamed the Lady Melisandre.
I know, Stannis.
You know.
Lady Melisandre has told me everything.
Wow. Blabbermouth.
Service of the... Oh, my sweet boys.
I gave you nothing. That's not true.
Yeah, you gave me test tubes.
Sir Davos is a traitor.
Aw.
He's rotting in a dungeon cell for his crime.
Way to put it lightly, Stannis. Yeah, but you'll get all your blood and all over the place.
Don't worry. I urged him to surrender peacefully. But the king didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
Didn't listen to Varys, who tried to warn him. But he did listen to Grand Maester Pycelle.
Hmm.
That grey sunken cunt. Burn them all, he said. Burn them in their homes, burn them in their beds.
He's gonna blow up the city.
Tell me if your precious Bendy commanded you to kill your own father, reborn as a dragon, turn his enemies to ash.
Yeah.
They slit his throat to make sure that didn't happen.
If this is true, why didn't you tell anyone?
Like Robert.
Why didn't you tell Lord Stark?
Stark, by what right does the wolf judge the lion? By what right?
The Kingslayer!
Jamie. My name's Jamie.
Yeah.
I'll teach you. I'll come when Bert's on duty and teach you. It's easy.
No.
It'll be fun.
Go. We can't.
Why not? What would they do? Lock us in cells.
You're already in a cell.
And the title of the whole book is An History of Aegon the Conqueror and his conquest of Westeros.
Speaking of a Targaryen conquering crap.
Listening to the words, in the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. All I could think of was how badly I had to piss.
Just once in my life before it's over. I want to know what it's like to serve as pride. To fight for someone I believe in.
Yeah.
You believe in her?
With all my heart.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's not a drunk or a lunatic.
These the ones? The Repti.
It's Jacob Anderson from Game Grumps.
Skoroso Jevi Broza.
Torco nudo.
Oh, finally.
Torgo Nudo.
Same broji beri. Si broji es bezo senestas kimbrotto. Quinile si broji melezesco mazedas terari vabustar.
Yeah, just let him take the same name.
Torco nudo saji broji es bezi ejitovi. Daenerys gelmasmo. Jiteptas.
That's true.
And Casterly Rock can't run away.
Ooh.
I'm going to take their home away from them.
Take Casterly Rock.
Can you do it?
I need men to replace the Karstags who marched home. The man whose daughter I was supposed to marry. Walder Frey.
Oh. That's gonna be tricky, man.
I don't know you. Oliver, if it please you. I should like to see you spar with a proper partner, sir.
Man, Loras playing the field.
How do you know? Know what?
You had to get over Renly sometime.
I wanted to.
That didn't take long.
Well, it took long enough.
Wow, alright.
Was engaged to be wed.
Way to blow it, Loras.
Well, the fastest. But she's mine.
Wow, that was 3 really fast cuts to get to where we are now.
Ship. It's what you want. You want to go home, don't you?
Of course, more than anything.
But the Tyrells,
But maybe it...
they're so dang handsome.
We find Sansa Stark a different husband. Wonderful.
Yes, it is.
You can't mean it. I can, and I do. You wanted to be rewarded for your valor in battle. Sansa Stark is a finer reward than you could ever dare hope for.
Oh my gosh.
And it is past time you were wed.
I was wed.
Oh, don't you remember? Only too well.
What do you mean?
You'll marry Sir Loras.
Oh!
You're still fertile, you need to marry again and breed.
I am Queen Regent, not some brood.
You're my daughter! You will do as I command, and you will marry Loras Tyrell. And put an end to the disgusting rumors about you. You disgraced the Lannister name for far too long.
Ooh. What a dick. You happy now, you two? Oh, the end.
It's always summer under the sea.
Oh, that must be the princess's song. Okay. Hold up. Alrighty. A lot of things happen in this episode. That's a word. Thanks. Alright, cool. So let's just get right into this. First off, the whole Lord of Light stuff. So the Lord of Light must be real then. I mean, we've had, the 7 gods and the old gods and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of gods, a whole lot of mythologies, I guess, in Game of Thrones. But I feel like this is the only one that's, actually, confirmed to be true. Does that make any sense? Because, we've heard about all the other gods, but they've never really done anything. They've never really, we haven't been like, do something, and then something happens. So that's interesting that something is up. There's something about this whole Lord of Light thing. Because, well, first off, because, of the whole Melisandre and the smoke monster, whatever that was, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But now the whole thing of this guy keeps coming back to life, it's gotta be something to do with the Lord of Light. So, yeah, that's really cool. I wrote down the royal wedding. That's going to be fun. I distinctly remember, okay, you guys know that I know, 1, maybe 2 things about this show because, a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people have talked about this show for years since the show's been going on. And so you hear some things, not exactly plot details, just you hear names. I've heard, obviously, like I've said, I've heard the name Jon Snow and Ned Stark and stuff like that. I already knew the you-know-nothing Jon Snow because that became a meme. I know that there is something called the Red Wedding. And I've been waiting. I'm like, that's So that's going to happen at some point. I have no idea what that is. I assume that involves blood. And yeah, so I'm wondering if that's what we're building up to now. Like, ooh, what if that's the season finale, is the Red Wedding? Wouldn't that be crazy? So, with that, we now have 3 marriages that are going to be happening pretty soon. We have the first one being Joffrey and Marjorie, which will be the full royal wedding. You know, the king and his new bride. And then we're going to have Sansa and Tyrion, which is an interesting twist on that. And I guess, yeah, because you have to use Tyrion because Jaime is gone, and even if Jaime was still here at King's Landing, you couldn't use him because he's a Kingsguard. So that couldn't work. It's the exact reason why Jaime can't have Casterly Rock. So yeah. So we're going to have Tyrion and Sansa, which is an interesting pairing to say the least. And then I didn't even think about this, and I didn't think of the other one either. I didn't think of Tyrion and Sansa, but I didn't think, like, this never crossed my mind at all. We're going to have Loras and Cersei. I didn't even think about that, but as soon as he, like, turned his head and looked at her, I was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna force her to get married too. Which she hates. She hated that she was forced to be married to Robert at all. So yeah, that's crazy that she's being forced again to get married, and this time it's to Loras Tyrell. And, you know, Tywin says, like, well, you're still fertile, you can still have a kid. And, you know, because the whole reason of marrying Tyrion to Sansa is to keep the control of the North. Ooh, which is interesting. And then it's like we're trying to basically stop the Tyrells from taking too much control. But we still need to control them with a marriage between Loras and Cersei. So that's crazy too. Man, Tywin's going nuts. Like, this is crazy. He just added 2 extra weddings to the roster, and they could hardly pay for one of them. So yeah, man, that is so crazy. And he was so, like, he's laying down the law with the 2 of them, and they are furious. Oh my gosh. I imagine Tywin's gonna die. One of them is going to kill Tywin. Honestly, I have the sneaking suspicion it's actually going to be Cersei. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be Tyrion. Jaime's gonna get home someday and he's gonna be like, what the heck happened while I was gone? Ugh, alright. I wrote down Robb/kids. I like that, you know, Robb sticks to his guns, and it's very much like the whole thing of, you know, he's punishing them for killing the Lannister kids because they had nothing to do with this. They are innocent in all this. And, you know, while, yes, that guy is so angry, he's so angry and he wants vengeance, and that's a way that he thinks he can get vengeance. It's not the right thing to do. And honestly, Robb is still right in doing that. Is right in, you know, disapproving of this. Because that's exactly what Ned Stark would do. If you did this, if you killed 2 Lannisters and brought their bodies before Ned Stark, he would be just as pissed as Robb was. So I do like that. Yes, maybe Robb went a little too far in killing them. But he was justified in his anger, basically. Which leads in, I'm going to skip around a little bit in my notes, which leads into the whole, was it Walter Frey? Is that the guy with the bridge? I think that's his name. Yeah, so he's going to have to go back there to get men. But he's already married. He was supposed to marry that guy's daughter, but it just... Oh, that's going to be awkward. I don't know how he's going to do that, but I want him to be able to do this, you know, somehow. I want him to be able to get the men and go, because I want him to go take Casterly Rock, because that was brilliant. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, Casterly Rock is kind of vulnerable, isn't it? In the same way that Winterfell was vulnerable. Theon took Winterfell while Robb is trying to defeat the Lannisters, and now, to defeat the Lannisters, he's going to take Casterly Rock. Take their home away, and then weaken them. Just keep weakening them until you can take King's Landing and defeat the Lannisters. So I really do like that. I wrote down Stannis' daughter, the princess. Why exactly was she locked away, or was it just that she was in a room? Because she seemed to escape and go see Davos on her own. I keep wanting to say Davros. That's because of Doctor Who. We were watching Genesis of the Daleks, and one of the characters' names is Davros, and I got so used to saying Davros that now I don't know. Now it's hard to say Davos. So yeah, so she got out of there and went and talked to Davos. So I don't think she's exactly locked up. It's just, I don't know. They're just kind of both away from Stannis. Mostly because she's not a boy and his wife can't provide a son. I don't understand keeping babies in test tubes, but whatever. So yeah. Now, the only thing is, when they say, well, Melisandre provided you with a son. Did she? Are we talking about the smoke monster, dude? We haven't even seen that since the episode where it killed Renly. We haven't seen that since then. It's are you sure she provided a son? I don't think she has. So yeah, there's that. I wrote down Grey Worm because first off, it was cool to see first off, it's cool that Daenerys is so hell-bent on freeing these people, right down to, no, you should not have your slave names. It's not right. Pick new names because you're all free people. It's I love that so much. I love Daenerys, man. She's so awesome, and she's hands down my favorite character. I know Ned Stark was my favorite character throughout season 1, and I do still love Ned Stark, but man, do I love Daenerys. She's just so cool. And then for basically Grey Worm to say, well, it's the name I know, and I like the name. It makes me proud. And I like his reasoning of, this is the name I had when I was freed by Daenerys Stormborn. It's that's an awesome reason. And it's okay, we'll take that. You're Grey Worm. You'll stay Grey Worm from now on. And also, you may have noticed I said, when he popped up, I was oh, it's freaking Jacob Anderson from Game Grumps. Because I've seen him on Game Grumps, and they've talked about him, oh yeah, he plays Grey Worm on Game of Thrones, and I didn't really think anything of it until I started watching Game of Thrones, and I was oh yeah, there was that one actor. And there was actually, they did, at the beginning of one of their videos, there's actually a video message from the guy that plays Sir Barristan, and he says oh, I wish I could be on Game Grumps and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, so I know Jacob Anderson from Game Grumps, so this entire time I've been waiting, so when does Jacob Anderson show up? Not that the show needs him or anything, I was just I wonder when he shows up. So yeah, now he finally did. Hooray. So yeah. And then, God, this note doesn't even apply anymore. I wrote down Sansa / Baelish / Loras, because it was an interesting little, thing where it's obviously Baelish wants to marry Sansa, as Varys said, so that he can, get some control and stuff like that. He can get some power. And Sansa's starting to realize that, and the fact that, well, she might be starting to realize that Baelish is in love with her, and so she's almost putting a halt to that. It's no. And now she's all completely ready to marry Loras, but I guess that's not happening. So that's the thing. I was probably gonna say more before that whole last scene. So yeah, but yeah, that's basically it for this. Don't really have anything else written down, and yeah. just a quick heads up. I don't even know if you guys remember when I did this, but a while back I said I did an extra Game of Thrones video on a Sunday, and that was sort of to help catch up a little bit. It doesn't help that much, but it helps a little bit when I do an extra video on a Sunday, and I'm going to be doing that this Sunday. So yeah, the next Sunday there will be a new Game of Thrones video up. And yeah, so that'll help out a little bit. It means one less week, or 1 week closer to Season 8. I'm not going to catch up in time for Season 8, by the way. That's not happening. But what I will say, because you guys talk about this, you guys kind of want me to do like multiple episodes per week, which I can't do right now. But what I'm thinking is probably in around late April to early May, I'm going to start doubling up episodes. So that'll be around maybe midway through Season 5, maybe a bit later in Season 5. And I will double up the end of Season 5, Season 6, and Season 7, so I can catch up a little, so we can catch up faster. And then, obviously, Season 8's going to be out by that time, but then I'll go ahead and go through Season 8. So, just a heads up, I won't be able to catch up in time for the April release date. Thanks, HBO, for doing that, by the way. You couldn't have waited a bit. But, yeah, so I'm not going to catch up in time to watch it live, but we're going to catch up to watch it a month or two, well, a couple months after, okay, like a month or two after it's done airing, basically. So, yeah, with that being said, I'll see you guys on Sunday for the next episode of Game of Thrones, which actually I'm probably going to record in a few minutes. So, yeah, with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Game of Thrones reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon, and you can follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.